Hello everybody, and welcome back to another league racing video. Today, I'm not even sure, I'm going to try and guess what round it is. Again, we joined super late in the season. But this is Jeddah, as you may or may not be able to tell. Was really confident, somewhat, on my pace, but I also knew I wasn't going to be necessarily the fastest. So I was just more or less relying on my somewhat decent race pace, hopefully around here, or so I thought. And definitely made sure I had a better setup for this race. If you haven't already, go check out my last video in this league around Belgium. But moving on here, this is our first run in the qualifying sessions. Again, a short qualifying session. So you're going to basically have 3 runs. So this is, again, our first run out of the 3. Was already conscious of making sure that I took this lap relatively safe. Just wanted to get a banker on the board more or less. And as you can see here, just going really wide into the chicane, then having a little bit of a snap of oversteer coming out of the chicane. Nonetheless, not too terribly bad. Gripping this up somewhat nicely. Just a little short on the power, but again, just want to be safe. Going through here real slow, like probably shouldn't have popped into 7th. As you can see, that whole section there already claimed its first victim, as that section is so technical and hard. But nonetheless, moving on here. Going through the, I don't even know the turn names, and I'm not even going to try to guess them also. Into the fast right left-hander is just where I'm going to start calling all these other turns. Popping on the DRS here for the first zone, if you don't want to consider the front straight the first zone. As you can see there, showing that we ran a purple section. Hooking that up somewhat nicely, again, just taking it all super conservative. As Dill lays down a 1:30.3, so that is currently the time we need to beat. Climb up to the line here. Getting a really good, catching a good braking point and getting the car rotated nicely. Turning on the ERS again for the final time on this lap as we come across the line. Sets us into first place with a 129.6. Of course, knew that we were going to have to go back out. In this run, I was feeling a little more confident. Knew the grip levels were going to be a little bit better. May not be 100%, but they were going to be a lot better. So I was feeling really confident and wanted to try and lay down a more or less a whopper. As you can see, we're currently still sitting P3 as Kesha, I hope I'm pronouncing that right now, and Hellraiser in front of us. So braking just at the 100, and as you can see, we're already gaining all kinds of time going into this chicane, getting a much better exit, get on the power a lot earlier, and already up a whole 10th, almost 2 tenths, coming into this fast left-hander, get in the car, but suddenly pop it into 6th gear and just lose the car. Being honest, I don't feel like I was on the power too early, but nonetheless, losing the car, it's going to immediately end our lap, so this basically leaves it all down to the final session, as we'll just fly back into the pits from this lap. So I want you to pay attention down to the bottom right there at our MFD, where our tire temp is at. We're coming into our final qualifying session, and as you can see, I'm going to turn my fuel mix onto standard, and I thought turning my ERS mode onto hot lap, but as you can see, it's still on none. So basically the car is not getting full power as it would be with hot lap on. And as you can see, I was already gaining all sorts of time, losing all sorts of time on the Delta. And as a racer, that is very discouraging. As you can see, I was hooking up the chicane really nicely and gained all sorts of time, but then suddenly just lost it all and even more, which really confused me. But I was pushing on, as you can see, still gaining time, but then just losing even more time. So I wasn't really paying attention to the Delta, I just thought I was down a bit. I felt like this lap was really good, but as you can see, still losing, but gaining. It's kind of an awkward Delta, as you can see. It'll go up a 10th or 2 and then just go right back down, so, or excuse me, 1,000, or 100. But anyways, still not noticing, I guess. Pushing on. Again, this lap felt really clean, was pushing really hard. It would have been a really fast lap, potentially a pull lap, because, you know, I mean, as you can see by the Delta, we have no ERS to play on.
Oh my god, my hot lap wasn't on.
As you can see there.
Fuck, man.
Realizing way too late. And yeah, again, we're just going to pull right into the pits. There's not even a point in finishing this lap. And yeah, again, this could have potentially been a pull lap, I felt like. It felt really good, but unfortunately just bad sequence of events, just unfortunate events more or less.
That's
so again,
embarrassing, man. That's what I get for trying to do too much.
having a little side comments there. But nonetheless, that's qualifying over. It's put us down to P7. Kesha, again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Taking first place, Hellraiser, Fluffy, Dill, Corsair, Spin, all the way down to me. Yeah. Moving on to the race, there was no formation lap. Starting again P7 on the hards. As you can see, everybody kind of having a little bit of a mix strategy. I believe all the front top 5 are all on mediums. So going into here, going around the outside of Corsair, and almost losing the car, getting a big step over here, but we get the move done. That's us up a place already, and we're going to slide in here behind Fluffy. As you can see, I don't know if I just had a little more confidence, slash maybe even pace, but I was all over the back of these guys with them on mediums and me on hards. Yeah, this gave me a bit of confidence, and as you can see, I'm taking that whole sector a lot more confidently and maybe a little bit quicker than all these guys, as Fluffy again goes a bit deep. Everybody kind of suffering with the cold tire syndrome from the start of the race, but nonetheless we all push on. Just staying behind Fluffy, go really deep, somehow not getting a track invalidation. And again, the last race I said, shout out to last race, or last round, or last episode. Really used a lot more ERS. As you see, Fluffy here goes wide and then gets a big snap, and we just immediately fly into the back of him, and that was really unfortunate. We lost our entire wing. Because yeah, we're pretty much just gonna let everybody go by us, as there's not even a point in trying to race anybody. We're just gonna pull into the pits, and I don't want to ruin anybody else's race, so we're just gonna let Temp, Pooch, and all these other guys in front of us go. And yeah, we're gonna pull into the pits, unfortunately, already on lap 1. This is, of course, going to pretty much put us at the back of the field. As you can see, pulling in real conservative-like. And yeah, this was really unfortunate. I was not expecting this. But I also knew that, again, it was only lap 1/2. This race wasn't over, barring there's any safety cars or anything like that. So, I mean, there's no reason to just immediately disqualify myself. As you can hear, they're probably throwing the mic a little bit. There's no point in disqualifying ourselves just yet, or retiring, simply because there's still a lot of racing left to do. And our mediums are going to be fresher than everybody's. Of course, I know it's only a lap or 2, but Jeddah is a very... If you don't have a proper setup on it, you're running just a bit too high of tire temperature, or tire pressure, you're going to really wear those tires out a lot faster than other people with the minimum pressures and all that other stuff, and the setup, you know, better wings and everything like that. So I didn't feel the need to drive the wheels off the car right now. More or less just get them up the temp and kind of baby them, and more or less hope for a safety car, slash just try and use some of our ERS and maybe some of our pace to catch up to the back of the field. But yeah, again, you know, we're gonna take it easy. For now, no need to, again, drive the wheels off the car, as we'll just ruin all our tires at the beginning of the race, and you know, there's still a lot of racing left to do. So just taking it all conservatively, not trying to spin out and lose any more time or wreck or anything like that. Using a bit of ERS, and yeah, we're slowly gaining a little bit of time. As you can see, pretty much everybody's packed up with everybody, so there's 1 or 2 cars or maybe a small train going. So everybody's got a slipstream and everything like that, but as you can see, we're kind of gaining a 100th or 2 here and there to Santi and Victor. So I was noticing that, as you can see, we get our first virtual safety car. I was hoping to turn into a safety car, but unfortunately it would not. So we're going to go ahead and just skip on here. If it skips. There we go. To the end of lap 3, and as you can see here, we've actually lost a little bit of time under the virtual safety car. But at the end of lap, or at the basically halfway, it wasn't a very long virtual safety car. We pretty much gained all that time back. I guess we must have just gotten a better start to all those guys that we lost time to at the back of the pack. So again, not trying to drive the wheels off the car, just trying to gain a little time here and there, and continue to hope and pray for a safety car. And yeah, as you can see, again, we're pretty much back down to where we were at the beginning of the VSC, and still gaining a little bit of time, 100th here and there. So setting up fastest sector 3. So we take this first chicane, nice, getting a little bit of apex on each, having a small snap of oversteer, as you can hear. Someone gone off up ahead. Hope for a safety car, but it doesn't look like there's going to be one as they got going again. But yeah, that's going to bring us somewhat closer to somebody and potentially get us into DRS, which is what we need. So as you can see, Brutal Bruise must have had himself a spin, and he's now...
Right, drop your speed. Our delta's too low and we're going to risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
See there, the two Ferraris coming together and having a tangle as Victor Maldes is now out. But yeah, this brings out the safety car, and this is exactly what we were hoping for. Lap 4 on basically 3-lap old tires, mediums. Yeah, this was perfect. This is going to bring us right back up to the pack, and essentially bring us back into this race. From what was second to last, but basically at the very back of the pack. So yeah, pushing on here, just driving to try and catch up to the pack as fast as we can. I was conscious that I probably should have saved a bit of fuel, but I wanted to catch the pack as fast as possible, just in case for any crazy reason. So yeah, I needed to be conscious of fuel saving. As you can see there, Kesha pitting along with Santi. So that'll move us up to 8th place. As we have our first safety car restart, we have Kesha behind us along with Forza Abdul. Brutal Bruise up ahead of us. Brutal Bruise, excuse me. Yeah, person up front is getting a bit of a slow start. This safety car restart was a bit interesting, as you'll see here in a minute. We start Fluffy, the guy we ran into, loses the car and takes out, I believe, Brutal Bruise. So that looked like potentially both their races over. And us up 2 places already off the safety car restart. As you can see here, Temp and Lucas coming wide, and we almost run to the back of Lucas and lose the car. This Kesha is going to have himself a look around our outside, but think better of it, as we are now behind Lucas. And as you can already see, just with a couple lap, nearly losing the car there, his catch is going to go around our outside now. We're going to just give him that place, but then he loses the car, so that's unfortunate for him. But nonetheless, pushing on here, still in P6. Now we got to catch up to Lucas, who's 1.3 seconds up the road. But as I was saying, their tires could start to be somewhat wearing a little bit. We are on, 2 or 3 lap younger tires. So yeah, already kind of gaining some time through turns as Temp there now loses the car. So that's both Red Bulls crashing out, doing a good job of avoiding that. And that moves us up into 5th place, chasing down Lucas. As it looks like, as now we get another safety car as Kesha now retires. And this was again perfect for us. We can do a little tire saving, let a few laps go by without having to use our tires too much. As we'll see who potentially decides to peel off into the pits. Now that there's a safety car out, as you can see, we're pretty much at the front of the pack again. Looks like Corsair is going to peel off into the pits, and everybody else is going to stay out as Lucas. Oh, excuse me, Dill also decides to pit along with Spin. So that puts us into P2. again, from what was basically second to last or last place, behind Lucas here. And this was perfect. So, yeah, moving on to the end of the safety car here. Again, behind Lucas. I wanted to do my best to try and get as good of a restart. As you can see here, he's trying to play a bit of a small game, or a slow game. But we're just going to make sure we keep it in fourth gear, and as soon as we start to see him do any sort of taking off, we're going to blast immediately right on behind him. As you can see here, immediately just getting the jump and going around the outside. But then, go a bit deep into the chicane, kind of went from 0 to hero, back down from hero to 0. And as you can see, Hellraiser goes around our outside, and Lucas also comes barging on through. So that's us pretty much down to a place off the safety car restart. So, yeah, not good, but these guys were both on older tires than I was, and I knew that. And I also knew that I maybe had a little more confidence through maybe just a little more pace in general on Lucas and maybe even Hellraiser. Hellraiser because he's on essentially 10-lap old hards right now. So yeah, I knew we sort of had the grip advantage a bit still. As you can see, Lucas pouring a little bit of battery out along with Hellraiser trying to get away. But as you can see, we still just have way more grip, confidence, as we are with our setup now finally not being a boat, catching Lucas without any ERS/DRS. So we're just going to take it conservative as he goes a bit deep into that turn, so he's going to be a lot slower coming out of here. As again, we're just going to put him under pressure and turn on the ERS now to try and go for the pass, as we're going to go around the outside, pushing us up against the wall. And yeah, we're going to make that move stick around the outside and back up into second place, now chasing Hellraiser, who again is on the 11-lap old hards. And skipping on to the end of lap 11, we would end up catching him. And yeah, we're going to stay on board here for just a minute because we have a slight battle, or a small battle with Hellraiser here, and it was pretty interesting. So, coming into here, taking the chicane somewhat nice. More or less trying to make sure we stay as close as we possibly can, so that way if we have a chance to make any sort of moves or anything like that, we are close enough to do so. But Hellraiser keeping it pretty smooth. His tires should be at this point probably in a bit of a better place than our mediums. The hards were definitely not wearing off as fast as the mediums, and of course the softs. The softs aren't even usable. And yeah, as you can see, the grip levels may still be, we brushed the wall there a little bit, may still be favoring us, but they should be any second now, literally. You can hear there Jeff just confirming we have no damage. He should pretty much have the tire advantage compared to us right now. I don't know what his wear looks like, of course, and it felt like we were getting a lot better exits and everything like that. As you can see, we're kind of delaying the DRS. We didn't want to push up to the back of them too fast. And then again, turning it off. Yeah, I have no clue what I was saying. I apologize. And yeah, we're now going to go for the move here on Hellraiser, turning on the ERS. Gonna keep him committed to his line for as long as we can, but ultimately we get back to the racing line. This time, going a bit deep into the chicane, as he's gonna try and set us up for the switchback, but we're able to beat him off of traction. And yeah, we're gonna try and break the DRS of him, so that way it's harder for him to catch up to us. Yeah, Hellraiser, obviously, of course, not a slow driver by any means, a really fast driver, honestly. But I think just the tire advantage, or the grip levels here, were still somehow favoring me a little bit, and I think my pace also might have just been pretty decent too. So, you know, combination of things setting in here, taking all these turns really nice. Yeah, just trying to keep the car on the road, but also try to go as fast as I possibly can. As you can see there at the top left, Hellraiser gaining all sorts of time on us with that setup he has. but he just will not be close enough right now to make a move. And again, just beating him off the traction and getting a little bit of time and popping on the ERS. Just trying to make his life difficult and make him use some of those make those hards wear down a little faster. And as you can see, we just gained almost a full temp off the exit, but again, with DRS and his setup, he was extremely fast on the straights, so he was able to stick with us, as you can see here, skipping on to the end of lap 14 now. We're going to stay out for one more lap. Actually, no, we're not. We are going to box now. I apologize. Coming into here, though, we tapped the wall, I guess, or something, and stops us.
The fuck was that?
As you can see, they're having a bit of a comment. I don't know what that was. I didn't get any damage or anything. The game just stopped me, and I had to sit there for like 2 seconds. So, yeah, shout out to Codemaster/EA or whoever's making this horrible game. That was pretty sweet. But nonetheless, into P5, moving on to the end of lap 16. Set the fastest lap with a 131.2. And we are now catching Forza Abdul. Again, boxing, so that way we have the fresher tires. So we have a lot of ground to make up on these guys, bearing they do not box. So yeah, this was huge that we were catching up, as you can see there on the side course here, spinning out, as that'll move us into 4th place. As the guy in front of us now is in the podium position. So this race was a little bit all over the board, and with the help of safety cars, we go for the move here on Abdul. We're going to beat him off traction. Again, we have fresh mediums against his, I believe it was 17 lap old hards. Maybe he boxed, I think he actually was the one that boxed behind me on lap 1, so 16 lap old hards. We're going to have the grip advantage all day there. And yeah, that's us back up into a podium position. From what was last up to, I guess, 1st. Back down to 5th or 6th, and then back up to 3rd. So all sorts of moves, a couple great battles, but the work is not over yet. We got to catch up to Dill and Hellraiser, as you can see, and they are 3.7 seconds up the road and 9.1 seconds up the road. And as you can see now, Dill has a 3-second time penalty, so that was my goal, to try and get that 2nd place from him and get into the 3-second time zone. Which I knew was possible, as we have a really big slide there, but able to keep the car on the road. But yeah, I knew that we were able to, with our fresher tires and his older tires, we were able to potentially cut that gap down. And as you can see, we do substantially. We're actually starting to catch them. As you can see, they're up ahead. Hellraiser and Dill are now battling. And that's going to slow them both down, of course, and somewhat enable us to come back into this race and get into a fight for the win. As we move on to lap 20. Hellraiser back in front of Dill, as these two are going to continue to chase each other down. And this is going to bring us into the fight, as you can see, gaining all sorts of times out of the exits. Yeah, we should still have a pretty decent tire advantage. I nursed the tires pretty well through the 5-6 laps that I did on them. And as you can see, they're starting to come up now as we push to the back of Dill. As we're going to crank the ERS on, and so is he. We're going to turn ours off and have a little dummy look down the inside. As you can see, deciding to stay behind him. Almost running to the back of him too, but nonetheless, 3rd place and right onto the back of Dill and Hellraiser here now. Locating our braking points in Apex is really nicely, considering 2 people in front of us. Yeah, I was really proud, as you can see again, just kind of delaying turning on the DRS so we don't flap to the back of Dill. I was really proud of how I drove this race. Couple minor mistakes here and there, but overall really battled hard to get back to where we are now. So as you can see, Dill running into the wall there, as the Hellraiser and him are going to go for a battle here. We're going to try and take advantage of this. As you can see, Dill gets back in front with the help of the ERS, or the DRS, excuse me. But as you can see, me and Hellraiser are going to both have the DRS advantage on him, and Dill is just going to let Hellraiser take the inside line here. Coming into here, there side by side as we're going to set back a beautiful switchback. Overtake Dill, but as you can see, Hellraiser got a really good X out of there, and he's going to stick up our inside and dive it and actually maintain it. So shout out to him for keeping on the road there. I mean, it was his corner. I let him have it. I didn't really feel like risking it. But as you can see with the grip levels, I was essentially pushing it through the corner here. So as you can see also, he is flashing, so that means he is under 10% ERS, and we are, as you can see, at about 66. And we just go right around the outside of Hellraiser. That's us back up into first place. And yeah, now all we pretty much have to do is try and run and break the DRS of Dill / Hellraiser. I think they're going to start to have a bit of a battle, so it's going to essentially give me a chance to run away. Yeah, this taking over first place, already breaking the DRS, but I think he was still able to get it. As you can see, he's gaining all sorts of time with the DRS, so I knew we just needed to get a good exit out of here as they were trying to battle. But moving on, we were able to run away, and as you can see, build a substantial gap, 11 seconds. Unfortunately, lost fastest lap to Spin Axis 1. But yeah, on board, we're going to stay on board the whole lap. This, if we're able to bring it across the line, will be our first league race win ever. I was not prepared, I guess you could say, for what this race was going to bring. But also you can never really be prepared for what races bring. As you can see, we're approaching some back markers here. But I was really proud with how everything went. I think I boxed at the perfect time, battled people at the perfect time, caught up to people at the perfect time. Overall, it was a pretty well raced as Santi gets out of the way here. Appreciate that, as we'll give him a little weight, Bob. But yeah, like I was saying, just really proud with how I drove. Unfortunate that we had to have that incident with Fluffy, but with the outcome looking like it's going to be, was not upset with that in the slightest. Really, just overall really happy with this drive. It's going to be a memorable one for sure. So getting through the final turn now, come onto the front straight, and we're just going to do a big old weave for the final lap.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, letting out a big old oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the race win, as you can see there. Spin taking the fastest lap. But Hellraiser, Dill, Forza Abdul, Spin, Corsair, all top 6. Me, Hellraiser, and Dill taking the podium. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed that race, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.